Bringing us a new program that helps identify healthier snacks by taking out the mystery of those confusing nutrition labels is Dr. Robert Murray, and he is the director of Nationwide Children's Hospital Center for Healthy Weight and Nutrition. And the program that I'm talking about, that's designed by NCH, is for parents to help their children and for themselves to make better snacking choices and to lose weight. It's called Snackwise. Welcome, Doctor.
Thank you, Cameron.
I think it's a great thing that you're doing as a parent. I know that I find it very difficult sometimes to know what to give my kids for snacks, and I know how these snacks affect them. So tell me a little bit about the genesis of Snackwise, how it started.
We had the same questions you did. When we criticized the food that was in vending machines, schools and businesses would say, well, tell us what we should put in there. And we realized we didn't have a good way of measuring one food versus another. So two dietitians who worked with us, Christy Hauser and Jan Ritter, have worked to make this software program simple and easy to use.
And the software program you speak of is there's an online calculator that people can log on to, and you've designed a color system to go with the food. So talk a little bit about the criteria that helps choose what color system goes with each food, and tell us just a little bit about the color system in general.
Well, as the parent goes online and they enter the food, the 11 parameters that we have from the nutrition label, the computer will tell them whether it's a red food, yellow food, or a green food. Red food is choose rarely, and it's because it contains things in there that may be a problem, fat, saturated fat, and other things. Yellow foods choose occasionally, and those are foods that may have less of the things that we want to avoid, like fats and sugars, but doesn't have a whole lot of nutritional value. The green foods are best choice. They not only have a low amount of foods to avoid, food components to avoid, but also have a lot of nutrients and minerals that we want kids to get.
So talk to me a little bit about the components, the criteria. So there's fat that you look at the proteins, you look at some of the sugars, or what are some of the other things that you...
Well, when you look at the food label, the top of the food label tells you how many servings, and that's critically important. Parents need to look at how many servings per package, because that can dictate whether or not it's a good food or a bad food.
That is very tricky.
The second part of the label is foods components to avoid. So that contains your fat, saturated fat, trans fats, sugars, sodium. The lower part of the label everybody seems to not look at, and that contains vitamins and minerals that we think are very, very important for kids. Kids are not just overweight, but they're also undernourished, and we need to get more of those vitamins and minerals into their diet.
So the software program sort of takes all these things into consideration and makes it a lot easier for people just to sort of log on, instead of going through the label, just knowing whether it's a red, a yellow, or a green food, and they can choose from that.
And it helps them make best choices. The other thing it does is it really trains them in label reading. After a while, when you use this calculator, it's very fun and easy to do, but you begin to get savvy about looking at the label in a more balanced way.
Can anybody use the online calculator? Do you need to pay for a subscription? How does that all work?
Absolutely free. In fact, some teachers are using it with their kids in the classroom. They let the kids put in their favorite food. Parents can use it at home. Businesses can use it to make choices. So it's a great opportunity, and it's totally free.
And it's at snackwise.org.
Snackwise.org.
Snackwise.org. We'll get to that a little bit more later. You have brought in some sample snacks, and I am going to choose, as a father and try to be a healthy person, I'm going to try and see what color is associated with each snack.
Okay.
All right, or at least we'll talk a little bit about that. I mean, to me it seems like the wheat crackers or the Cliff Bars, things like that would be healthy snacks that I would think my kids could enjoy. Is that like a green? Are those green areas? Let's start with the Cliff Bar. Is that a green?
Absolutely. So you'd be 50% right. You slam dunk the Cliff Bar, and the reason the Cliff Bar is good is that it's a reasonable portion, particularly for an active person, but it also is low in the nutrients that you want to avoid, like fats, and it's high in other nutrients, like vitamins and minerals in here, vitamin C and calcium and the like. The Wheatables, you would have struck out on that one. Unfortunately, even though it has the word multi-grain in it,
right,
and it has the word wheat in the title, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's whole grain. It doesn't mean it has much fiber. And in this case, it hasn't really lowered the amount of nutrients that you wanted to avoid, and it hasn't added a lot of the nutrients and minerals, vitamins that you want to see. So this one ended up being a red food.
Red?
Yeah, because it really didn't give you much, and it didn't take out some of the things that we were trying to avoid. So big differences between these. And as you look at some things, you get a similar thing when you see other buzzwords like granola or wheat or multigrain. They may lead you down the wrong path. So it isn't the front of the label,
Right.
it's the back of the label you need to read.
It's the back of the label. I got sucked in there. And the other thing that you mentioned that I think I have to touch on as well is the Cliff Bar, you said, is a really healthy portion size.
Yes.
And you know, something like the cracker, sometimes it's not easy for us as parents to know how much of each snack to give our kids. So, I mean, this is already, the portion's sort of controlled already.
It is. Now, this portion size is a little bit bigger, so it's more of an adult or a very active child. So if I have a child playing football or soccer who's really burning calories, this fits in a better, it's about 250 calories, a little high for the typical snack. But if you move to a Priya bar or you see other ones, NutriPals and Power Bars and things, they're well fortified, and at the same time the serving size is a little bit smaller. This one is around 160, and it's a little closer to what we'd like to see kids taking for snack foods.
Good to know about that. Now let's go to the chips. I'm going to clearly say that these, you know, when you see baked, you know, for me, I see baked chips. That's like green light for me. I'm diving in. But is that a little bit of a, you know, misleading?
Not so much misleading. I think what you move from a fried product to a baked product. You decrease some of those things that you'd like to avoid. So saturated fat falls, the calorie content falls to the degree where they've put these little labels on that say that it's a better food for you, and it is better. But in terms of nutrition, it's still a potato chip, and there's not a lot of nutrition in a potato chip. So you want to make a choice that not only lessens the foods you want to avoid, but gives you some of those nutrients and vitamins and minerals that you'd like to get into their diet.
What are some of the, because clearly I'm batting about 50-50. I don't want to guess again. Okay. So what are something here, you know, the Teddy Grahams that I would probably think would not be a great snack choice, but I have a feeling that that's there as a trick.
It is there as a trick to a certain degree. The Teddy Grahams are actually baked, and they decrease some of the foods to avoid, but they're also fortified with calcium, and calcium is one of those key nutrients, problem nutrients we'd like to get more into the diet. Okay. These are other cookies. As you look at them, and if you think of Fig Newtons, this is a great example of red, yellow, green. Typical Fig Newtons still have a certain amount of nutrients that we'd like to avoid, and not much else in there. And you also be very careful of portion sizes with them. Well, they made these 100% whole grain Fig Newtons, and it moved it from the red to the yellow category because it's giving you a little bit more. But then they made these Fig Newton minis, where they not only added the whole grain, but then they fortified them with several vitamins that make them a green food. By reading the label, the parents can make a choice, same taste and same calories, but much more nutrition.
That is interesting, going all the way from red to a green food. Now, you have worked with a former obese child, Danny Quartz, and his mother, Barbara. Tell us a little bit about Danny and his story, and I believe we'll have a clip after that.
Well, Danny came to us about a year ago, and he was overweight. He said he was the biggest kid in his class, and he also didn't feel good about himself. And he's worked very hard, which is one of the secrets to weight management, but he's improved the quality of his diet. He's lost about 20 pounds. He's much more physically fit, and he's very confident. So I think you're gonna hear a confident, good-looking, healthy boy now.
Okay, let's take a look.
Hey, Mom, what do you think of these? I felt better. I could keep up with people now, and it just feels good to have like less weight on you because you don't have to like drag it around all day. Because I used to eat pretzels a lot, and I thought that was healthy because of the low amount of calories, but they said it's kind of bad because of all the salt and stuff they have in it, which I didn't know before, so.
That is very inspiring, and it's a good indication as to how healthy snacks can really, you know, help somebody. And I can't help but notice also the awareness, and I think just a lot of people, never mind children, but even adults, are just, you know, the awareness level of what is in the food that we're eating is just not there.
I think in Danny's case, he wanted to do the right thing, he's looking to do the right thing, and he just needs the tools to do it. And this is a great opportunity with Snackwise. It's simple, it's easy to use for kids and adults, and that's that knowledge that can make them much better choices when they face snack foods.
And it seems like it's like a lot of things in life that you see a little bit of improvement, and I think, you know, Danny obviously is getting excited and he's taking it one step further, and it's a good inspiration to a lot of kids out there that are struggling with being overweight. Now, how are you getting the word out about Snackwise?
Well, we're talking with businesses, with universities, with schools in particular, and we put this on our website, and we're starting to link in with other organizations. We want people to be aware of it. It's free, it's easy to use, and we hope that it makes this one piece of the nutrition pie a little bit easier for people to swallow.
Thank you very much for being here, Doctor.
Thank you, Cameron. For
a list of top 10 best snacks, you can log on to snackwise.org or abcnews.com and click on GMA Now.